I'm Reverend Phil, and I'm your host for Words of the Prophets. Where are our prophets now? Where are those messengers God chooses to communicate divine revelation through? In the past, the Creator sent prophets like Abraham, Siddhartha, Jesus, Muhammad, and many more. Maybe our higher power has switched tactics since we reinterpret God's words as soon as the Creator's prophets leave us. Could it be that Spirit talks to each one of us individually and we haven't learned to listen? On Words of the Prophets, our modern prophets show us how to find the internal prophet that is the I Am, and we discuss the application of spiritual principles in all aspects of our lives.
Love and light, everybody. I'm Reverend Phil, and I'm your host for Words of the Prophets. Today, sitting alongside me is my guest, Nicola Bertolo, who is the board president of the U.S. Seimei Foundation. Hi there. Welcome.
Hi there. Thank you.
Treat her nice. She's nervous. Today's prophetic topic is to tap into the unlimited potential. And this phrase is from the third paragraph of the Seimei Foundation mission statement. The paragraph reads as follows. Our vision is to be the organization that enables all people committed to improving their lives and helping the planet to tap into the unlimited potential known as Seimei that exists within everyone and everything. So maybe we ought to just skip the outline the way we did it. Let's define Seimei for everybody first, then we'll get into your story.
Okay. So Seimei is a Japanese word. It originates from Japan, and its basic translation is your vital life force, which we all know we all have. So that's the basic translation.
So for people who would use the term chi or kundalini, the same kind of reference point?
You could look at it like that, but Seimei is results orientated, so it's more the way you use your vital life force.
So it's the use of the energy, not the name of the energy.
Right, how you use it, how you integrate it, how it's beneficial to your life.
So tell me about you. How did you get involved with this? Where did you get introduced to this?
Well, I happened to be living in Japan. I was an exchange student there in 1984, and I went to university there, studied the martial art judo there, and was looking for something to do, maybe go into Chinese acupuncture, because I was very interested in the healing techniques. And a good friend of mine said, come and take a look at this. So he took me to a Seimei demonstration where a 17-year-old girl took away back pain that I had without touching me in like a few minutes. And she'd just gone through learning how to use this aspect of herself, her Seimei. She'd just taken the class. And so I was blown away that, without touching me, she could reduce my pain significantly in just a few minutes, and that was the initial hook.
So the fact that you were a judo practitioner, learning to work with energy,
right,
doesn't impact this, because this little girl who had no training in your discipline or any discipline just was able to do this.
Right. So that was the biggest. As far as wanting to get into the healing arts, I'd always, as a judo player, you're always looking to be in the zone. You're always looking to be able to throw people effortlessly without, being able to tap into that aspect of yourself, that unknown aspect of yourself. And so to me, that's what this was. And after talking to some of the teachers that were there, they said to me, I said I can use it for healing, but can I also use it for my martial art? And they said, absolutely. The more you use it, the more you acknowledge the results and use it correctly and on a consistent basis, the more you can communicate with it, the more you will understand it. Because it's an aspect of yourself, they weren't looking at it as energy. It's more your vital life force. It's it's who you are, the essence of who you are. And to be able to communicate with that aspect of yourself on a regular basis is what being able to throw someone effortlessly, or your Tiger Woods, or all those different people that can get into the zone, not just your healers.
So if I get you upset, will you break this desk?
No.
Oh, good.
Now I heal people. I don't get them.
Before we go any further with that, people now have been listening to you for a few minutes. Beautiful accent. Do you want to tell us where you're from?
Originally, I'm from New Zealand. So I left New Zealand at 17 and spent 13 years in Japan, and then was sent to the United States to spread Seimei. And I've been here for the last 12 years, 12, 13 years.
So anybody who can do math can figure out how old you are. I'm not going to
Yeah.
do it for them. Okay, so let's back up a bit. Where did Seimei, the term and its whole process, we're going to, by the way, we're going to do 2 live demonstrations. So this is like a first, I believe. Never done before.
On TV.
On
right.
TV, wow. How did they come into being? Who discovered it, founded it, created it? I'm not even sure what the right term is.
Well, again, Seimei originates from Japan, and the founder of Seimei, the person who discovered it, is a wonderful human being by the name of Toshihisa Hiraki. And he wasn't born with gifts or anything like that. What he's stating or what he teaches and how anyone can use this aspect of themselves for fantastic results is that everybody has vital life force and it exists within its own realm or its own world. And that world has its own natural laws, just like the physical body has natural laws. And if you can use those natural laws, or if your vital life force is able to use those laws on a regular basis, that's how it grows, that's how it becomes more powerful, that's how it becomes more beneficial into your life. And so he was originally born understanding that this world exists, being part of it, being able to acknowledge it, existing within it. And Hiraki's big thing was, how come nobody else was able to sense that this aspect of himself or this world even existed when it was right there in front of them? And so he spent his life dedicating himself to creating a curriculum and being able to take people through an activation process where he could get their vital life force moving in its own environment and then teach us how to use our mind and our physical body and our seimei together to integrate it so that we could use those natural laws of this aspect of ourself to better help our lives. And so he used pain as a common medium because everyone in the world has, no matter what race you are or how intelligent you are, what religion you are, what you believe, you all have a physical body and everybody has some form of discomfort. And so that's why he used the medium of pain and created a system around it to help us learn how to use this aspect of ourselves, our vital life force, correctly and consistently again and again and again, like the physical body. If you use the natural laws of your physical body again and again and again, that's how you stay healthy. So that's the whole concept of it.
Let me back up for a second. So are you saying that he was like living multidimensionally, so to speak?
I don't know if he was living multidimensionally. He keeps it very, very simple. The way that he explains things, he wants to keep it simple. He wants Seimei to be results orientated. The way that he describes the laws of Seimei, if you're getting into multidimensionality, is that the world of Seimei, or the world that Seimei exists in, is not restricted to time, it's not restricted to space, and it's not restricted to mass, quote, energy. There's no force and friction involved. So with those 3 laws, the first 3 laws of Seimei, that's how you get into unlimited potential. If you're not restricted to time, space, or mass, or an aspect of yourself.
And this was something he was
totally aware of since birth.
And nobody else was, when he presented it, nobody else kind of was like, what are you talking about, kind of?
Oh, well, he used to, do things, take away people's pain, do all sorts of things.
From birth? From
birth, but he was born, post-war Japan, Japanese, in a Japanese environment, and over there, you need to conform. It's, group-orientated society, especially in that day and age, so he didn't really spend a lot of time, quote-unquote, producing miracles for people, because every time he did, his parents would kind of say, no, it's not the right thing to do, just be a normal person, please, kind of thing. But it was still always there, he was still always aware of it, and developed it in his own way until he got to the point where he was actually on a fishing trip, and one of his good friends put his back out, and they were going to have to go in, and Hiraki wanted to continue fishing. So he took away his back pain, and he was fine, and so they could continue fishing. And then after that, the word started getting out. People started coming to his house with different conditions, chronic conditions from acute to chronic. And he started working with people, working on people, and then he just started drawing more and more people until they started asking him, can we do this? Can you teach us how to do this? And then it all kind of started from there with him. He began the first health organization or Seimei organization in Japan in 1984. And it's progressed from there.
Is he still with us?
He's only 60 years old. He's still with us.
Oh,
yes.
way cool. Does he ever come to...
No, he doesn't come to the United States now. He's spent, many, many years and much, much time dedicating himself to teaching people how to use this aspect of themselves, harness this aspect of themselves, and again, because it's based on natural laws, use it correctly and consistently. And so now he's at the stage where he's been doing it for, 40-some years, that he's pulling away and letting everybody else, take over. And
let's go back and talk about these natural laws some more.
Okay.
I mean, because some people, natural laws are, gravity, centrifugal force.
That's a natural law, yes.
Yeah.
A natural law means something that you have to abide by. So the natural laws of time, space, and mass, in the physical world of time, space, and mass, to give you a very simple example, is that it took you time to get here today, you covered space, and you burnt mass energy. And you're going to do that wherever you go. Mm-hmm. It's a natural aspect of the physical body. The physical body has to abide by those laws. Well, your Seimei, or your vital life force, is the same. The only way that it can grow and progress is if it uses the laws that it's of, the world that it's of, no time, no space, no mass. Therefore, as a common demonstration, when we give you one, taking away someone's pain without touching them, you're not using, you're not using force or friction, you're not touching them. That whole, you're bringing in some of the natural laws of Seimei, and that's how it continues to grow. And
so we're not only talking
momentum.
about a different plane, it sounds like we're talking about a higher plane.
Higher, different, no time, space, and mass, it's hard to no up or down kind of thing. There's no duality there.
Yeah, exactly. So we have to come up with a better word for that.
Yeah.
So does Seimei require any religious connection, any spiritual practice?
It only requires practice. It doesn't require any personal belief or anything like that. Just like your physical body, you have to get up every day and feed it. It's good if you sleep, and it's good if you exercise it. With your Seimei, once it's in motion, it's good to use it. The way that you feed it is by allowing it to use the natural laws that it's of, taking away people's pain. The way that we direct it so that we can learn how to integrate it with our mind and our physical body is through an acute demonstration that we're going to give you, and also for problems like, if you break something or sprain something or bruise something, or you've had something for 2 or 3 weeks or something, that is a certain technique where we integrate mind, body, Seimei and give you a result. And then for more chronic conditions, where the person's had it for months or years, that takes a little bit more of a technique, a little bit more communication between mind, body, and Seimei. And teamwork between the person that you're working on also, because it's always results orientated. Well, sorry, go on.
No, go. That's fine. I'm just here to ask questions. You're here to talk. 2 questions. Let's take the first one. This may sound heretical, but if we're transferring energy, could we not use that energy to harm somebody as well as to heal them?
Well, that's a very good point, yes. Especially if it's based on natural laws, right? In Seimei, the beautiful thing about it, and the reason why I do it and continue to do it, is that because the more I use my vital life force, the more that it's in motion, the more that I can take away people's pain and help them with chronic conditions through using this aspect of myself, the better I feel. Again, you're talking about a realm where there's no time, space, and mass. So when you're using it, you're merging with the other person's life force and exercising it for them. That exercise, because it's in no time, space, and mass, is exponential, and therefore, the more you do it or the better results you get, the better you feel yourself. However, if I want to harm someone, if I want to have an intention or use Seimei to make their condition feel worse, I could do that also. But unfortunately,
you'd be feeling
I'm going
the pain
to feel
same.
Right, because of the natural laws.
So if you're willing to suffer,
if you like suffering,
or if you're willing to inflict a certain amount of pain on yourself and then heal yourself, so it could be used in either direction.
I suppose so, yeah. the more it's better for me to, if I'm in pain, it's better for me to use it on other people to help myself than it is to actually work on myself. I can certainly work on myself if I have, you know, acute pain, but if I have a chronic condition, I want to be working and giving sessions and integrating these three aspects of myself for a certain period of time, doing certain things, following feedback, following a technique, following a system where the person that I'm working on is feeling better and feeling lighter because I'm feeling, and then I sometimes at the same time feel better and lighter myself. So, again.
Do you find that this guides you as to how to, I mean, are you structured, is the Seimei structured so you do certain motions, or, you know, we'll get into the demonstration, or is it something that the life force will guide you where instead of doing one thing, you'll do something different?
Excellent question. There is structure there in the beginning. The reason why there can be structure is, again, because of the originator. Because you're dealing with vital life force and its natural laws are no time, space, or mass, it's very hard to feel it or sense it or have a perception of it based on your mind and its natural ability to perceive things because it's based on the five senses of the physical body. What Hiraki was able to do, and where everyone can do this and get great results, is that he developed a curriculum using people that were coming into it so he could see when their life force was moving the best. He could see when all three aspects, mind, body, and Seimei, were integrated the best, and it was helping the person and helping the recipient the most. So that's how he developed the curriculum, based on, you know, watching people and teaching people how to do it, and then getting the results not just from one person, but from, you know, tens of thousands, basically, or 10,000 at least, different members, different practitioners, that if they do the same thing, hold things at the same difference, there's a perfect basic form, there's a perfect way to do Seimei, and that's how you get the best results. After that, and as you do that, like anything, as you integrate it more and you use it more and you get better and better at doing it, then your vital life force begins to communicate to you better. In the beginning, it's like listening to a foreign language. You know, you hear a foreign language and you don't know what it means. But then as you begin to understand what your Seimei is communicating to you through different sensations in your hands, and there's a whole vocabulary that you start to build. And then based on that, you can build, you know, a structure of it so it can begin to guide you. And then as you, again, there's different levels. As you use it more and more and more, then you progress up the levels to the point where you want to get to your life force or your Seimei directing you in all aspects of your life, not just the healing aspect. But the healing aspect certainly where it can actually, because your mind is so aware and so committed to it based on the results that it's got after working on as many different people as possible, able to allow it to, you know, command the situation. For example, Hiraki could give a chronic condition or a chronic session to someone in minutes, where it would take me 45, where it would take someone else, you know.
What was, do you know Hiraki's religion of birth?
Buddhism.
Really?
Mm-hmm. That was the area where he lived.
Interesting. Because what you're describing so much sounds like Taoism.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
In Japan, it is Seimei, or your vital life force, is known as. They also call it, or, you know, your Buddha nature. And it's, like you say, it's all the same thing.
Yeah, and Buddha nature is not that far from Taoist. It just had that Taoist feel to it. When you say the practice, so it's basically what we become, if I'm understanding this correctly, is a channel. And the more we do it, the wider the channel opens. Would that be a good metaphor?
The reason why we don't call it a channel, or the reason why we learn that it's not a channel, is because it's an aspect of ourself. And as you know, it's more like the soul, or the soul in motion, or the higher power, or your unlimited potential. And the reason why the mind tends to view everything separately is because everything is separate in physical reality. However, once you start to use this aspect of yourself more and more and more, one of the biggest connections you get, and you can get it in the beginning, but the more you use it, is that your mind and your Seimei are very, very different. And that's one of the biggest obstacles that people need to. In a mind-dominated society, the mind needs to realize that it's not the soul, that it's totally separate from the soul, and that it's here to serve the soul, or the Seimei. And through doing these exercises and the constant confirmation of results, you know, working on 100 different people and getting 100 different results for 100 different types of pain, your mind's like, wow,
let me try.
There's something going on here.
Let me try a different approach then. Would I be looking at myself as a rechargeable battery, or am I drawing out from the force that's around me? I mean, Seimei is not just in me, it's everything that's
everywhere.
Around me.
That's right. It's no time, no space, no mass. Everything comes from that.
Exactly.
It's everywhere. Right.
So I just give it a focus.
Well, it's like you're walking around in physical reality. You're also walking around in Seimei reality.
So
it's
I'm giving the
there.
Seimei the focus. So
only because you need to prove it into existence, right?
It has to have I'm proving it because otherwise the healing wouldn't happen.
Right.
So am I drawing just purely from myself, or am I tapping into something greater than myself?
Well,
it is
like yourself.
A storage battery, so to speak?
Well, it is yourself in the sense that the more you can use, you know, the more we're able to use the natural laws of the physical world correctly, you know, the better it is for us. That is our natural battery, right? So it's just being in the world that we're of, that we were originally created of, and using the natural laws of that world consistently and, you know, constantly on a regular basis. There is no, it's always there for you once you start moving in it.
Okay, so let's just do our first demonstration. So we have two demonstrations we're going to do. We're going to do acute pain, and then we're going to do chronic pain. So we're going to do the acute first, and that's going to take about 10 minutes. Do we want to, and you'll give us like a running commentary?
Certainly.
Okay. Then let's bring on, you want to introduce the people who are?
Okay, so Dave, if you can come and have a seat. Everybody, this is Dave. And he's here today. We're going to demonstrate Seimei on him. Thank you very much for coming today, Dave. And Alex, who's the Alexandra Bakos,
practitioner,
is the practitioner, and also the regional coordinator for Seimei Santa Fe. What we're going to be working on today is for acute pain. Dave has a problem with his wrist. So, Dave, can you just describe what's going on with your wrist and when it started?
It started about 3 weeks ago, and probably the connective tissues were damaged around the region where, the metacarpal ties into the wrist. And the pain is ranging from 0 at rest to about 5 or 6 under use, mainly with the thumb or range of motion with the wrist.
Okay. So if you move it this way, do you feel it?
Yes.
And you move it that way, do you feel it?
Yes.
And up, do you feel it?
Yes.
And down, you feel it? Is there one way that's worse than any of the others, or they're all about the same?
Probably with my thumb
up, as you feel it the most.
Yes.
And the type of pain that it is, Dave, can you describe it?
It's a relatively sharp pain.
And it starts right there?
Right in here.
Okay, and how far does it extend? Right to the edge of the thumb, or how wide is the area?
Partially up the thumb.
Up to the thumb.
Yeah, probably up to the joint.
Okay, so when you go like this, you feel that pain?
Yes.
Okay, so if you can just rest your hand on your lap, just like that would be great.
Okay.
And Alex, if you can just start pulling, just find the area and just start pulling out for a moment.
Can you describe pulling out while she's doing it?
So she's going to, can you just hold it there for a moment and just let the sensations build? What she's doing is she's locating using her physical body to find the area where she feels the pain the most, or actually where her Seimei is telling her where it's emanating the pain the most. And so after she's found that, she's holding it there, she's connecting to her Seimei, and as she does that, the sensations begin to build as her vital life force connects with Dave's and begins to exercise itself. Based on your Seimei, Phil, because it exists in this world with no time, space, or mass, it's either in motion or it's not. So everything to it, every type of disease is a form of stagnation, that's all. So what we're doing is just...
Which is basic acupuncture.
Except we're not touching
anything, yeah.
There's no force or friction.
Exactly.
So we're using an aspect of ourselves that's not physical.
Yeah, we're using a higher level of the same basic understanding.
Right,
yes.
Not our mind. Okay, so once you start feeling that, Alex, can you just start pulling it out? And there's a natural bit further. Okay.
She's doing something with her right hand. What is
Right.
that?
What she's doing is she's taking her vital life force and she's actually moving it from one hand to the other. She's gathered stagnation in her hands and she's passing her Seimei through it, and as it clears, then she's going back to collect more. So this is just one aspect that you can, or one way to use Seimei to help get things moving in the area, clear anything out in the area, and then she's going to go directly to the area and work on it, because that's what will help heal the connective tissue. And
While she's doing this, is there any visualization or mantra that she's using?
no.
So she's just, it's more like a meditation, just clearing her mind?
Her mind is focusing on where her Seimei wants it to go. Stop right here, pull it out to right here.
Okay.
Now, sometimes people feel things and sometimes they don't. Dave, are you feeling anything?
A vague sensation in the area, yes.
Okay, in the area, like a tingling sensation? Or
Oh, yeah, a
like
vague tingling,
vague tingling sensation.
yes.
So she's going to do it one more time, and I'm just going to get him to move it. Now, what's important in Seimei, or the feedback that we get with people, is that we need to know how the nature of the pain is changing. If it's gone from sharp to dull, or to cold, or to heavy, or it's sharper, it feels clearer, different things like that.
What does that tell you?
It tells us where we are in the process. It also confirms what we're feeling in our hands. So can you just move your thumb up again and see if it feels any different?
The pain is reduced probably from a level of 4 to 2.
Okay, good. So we're down like 50%. So now that we have that information, the next thing that Alex is going to do is locate the area around the thumb where she feels the sensations the strongest. And again, the sensations that she's getting, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to have you put your elbow like that, so can you lean it on? Yeah, that's good.
So that she, again, what's giving her the information is not her mind, it's her vital life force. And that's the hardest thing for people to understand.
Until you experience it,
And do it yourself.
Yes.
That's why it's very much do to know.
It's about just getting out of your mind. I mean, that's why I use the word meditation, because in so many ways, that's exactly what it is.
Except it's always moving. As soon as you consciously connect to it, you're going to feel, because Seimei, or life force, is in everything, inanimate or animate. So you can feel, your Seimei talking to you about this water, about anything, about plants, about.
Did he create the term Seimei, or was that something that was
He
before
did create. He needed to pick a word to describe it, and so he picked the word Seimei.
Does that break down in like the syllables sei and mei to something?
It does. It consists of two separate characters, Japanese characters. Sei means to be born, and mei means into one's life.
Okay.
So it's the essence of your vital life force. It's your vital life force. It's not born, it's born.
Yeah. How long did it take Alexandra to practice before she's able to do this? How many sessions?
Immediately. Once she started taking the class, immediately. It's like a baby learning to walk. You have a physical body, Sorry, Dave, how's it feeling now?
Pain level's about the same, but I did feel something all the way up to my shoulder.
Oh, you felt like it going up to the shoulder?
It was actually localized in the shoulder.
So you feel it moving. Okay. So Alex, just go back to it once more and just move around again. So all this feedback and what's going on within the body, how it's is all very, very important. How we connect to it, the feedback from the person that we're working on, and how we use it is very, very important.
Does the person that you're working on have to believe in this?
Not at all, no.
They just have to be willing to participate.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, try it again.
there's still pain, but it's markedly reduced.
Okay, so it's less than a 2, less than it was before?
Much less than it was before.
Okay. So we're down to about 80%, and as a Seimei practitioner, we want to get it all gone, which we, or we want to get it almost gone, but we need to move on to the chronic.
Well, we've got a couple of minutes if you want to do another one.
Start again, pulling it out. And the reason why we want to do that is that because the more we use it, and the better the result we get for the person that we're working on, the more we're exercising our own vital life force, the better we feel ourselves. So,
well, Dave is going to be our chronic as well. How much of what we're doing now with the acute will impact the chronic?
That's a very good question too. What we're working on right now with Dave is an acute condition with his thumb that he's had for like 2 to 3 weeks. And what we're doing is giving him a demonstration on the actual area. A lot of the time with a chronic condition, and what we're working on with Dave's chronic condition is a pain that he's had in his heel for 5 to 6 months, so that's more chronic. What we're going to do there is going to be different. We're going to use our vital life force to scan the physical body and locate the origin of where that pain may be coming from. If something is acute, then you can get rid of it from the actual area. However, if it's chronic, then you need to know where it's referred to in the entire body, and that your unlimited potential, your Seimei, your vital life force, can actually show you and tell you.
Let them finish. We have a few minutes to discuss this, because this is I'm curious. And I guess the question I want to ask is, if I am working with the vital life force, why would it be restricted to one area? Why is it not impacting all areas at the same time? If it's everything, and you know what I'm saying?
Because you're working with the physical symptom and with the physical system. And it certainly is. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but it's easier as the physical system works. For example, if I work on how's it feeling now, Dave?
Still about a 1.
Still about a 1?
I'm moving it, yeah.
Okay. But you're moving it.
Yeah.
So try it all 4 directions and see, is there any particular, is there more relief in one direction than there is in another? I'm just curious.
There's actually more relief in this direction
than you had before.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how you how you ask the questions and how the pain is changing becomes very, very important.
Yeah, we could. Do you want to blend the two of them together? We can keep talking as they're working.
As what? As on the acute condition, you mean, or
keep working on the acute,
or start with the complementary, shall we,
or get into the chronic, or
get into the chronic?
I mean, we can talk while this is all going on. So let's
get into the chronic. So anyway, Dave, this is an acute demonstration. You definitely feel relief, right? And so this is Seimei. It's truly amazing, and absolutely anybody can learn how to do it. You too have this aspect of yourself. What we're going to be working on now with you, Dave, is it's your left foot, right?
Yes.
Now, your left foot, you feel pain in your heel, you were saying?
Okay. In the bottom of the heel.
In the bottom of the heel. Now, what we need to do is establish how it is right now. So, do you feel it just sitting there?
I don't feel it sitting right now,
okay.
But at times sitting, I do get stabs of pain.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what we're going to be doing is giving you a session on this particular condition. So what's real important is to establish, because we're not going to be touching you, how it's feeling right now. So if you can stand up and put it in a position or walk around and get a really good idea about how it hurts, how wide it is, the type of pain that it is, then that would be really good.
Okay.
Okay, can you describe how it is?
At the present moment, the pain is localized right under the bottom of the rear of the heel.
Okay.
It seems to be a little bit wider from side to side of the heel rather than deep along the length of the foot. Mm-hmm. Walking around, the pain level is probably 3. If I walk a long way,
then it really
the
gets
pain
worse.
level goes up to 8 or 9.
Okay. And the type of pain that it is?
It's a sharp pain.
It's a sharp pain right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. Have a seat. So what we're going to do is, Janet, if you could find the actual area within the foot. And Alex, if you can go to Dave's head. And what Alex is going to do is stimulate various points on Dave's head. And Janet, as you feel the sensations change, if you could let Alex know. So if you could tell her what's going on.
I mean, it looks like you're running a circuit here.
Right.
You know, in from one end and out from the other.
Right. But we're not working on the thumb, we're working on the head. There's a lot more in the head than there is in the thumb.
You know, I understand that,
Right.
but it just...
And this is because we have two people. Again, you can always feel the sensation of the foot, or we'll be scanning the whole body.
Some tingling.
So she's feeling different sensations in her hands that her vital life force is describing to her, and she is giving that information to Alex.
More tingling.
Okay, can you go to the next point?
What are the questions? I mean, you're orchestrating this. What happens when you're not here?
Oh, they can do it by themselves. I'm just commentating.
Okay.
Yeah, they can certainly do it by themselves. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just telling them what to do just for today. They can tell them the reason why that can happen is because they can scan the body and the whole body, and their Seimei will tell them where they need to go.
So we were
I just know where they need to go.
we were talking earlier about non-duality. Yet as soon as you're talking the difference between the body and its blockage, doesn't that automatically bring in duality?
Well, you're dealing with two aspects of yourself that have different sets of natural laws. You have a part of yourself that's your vital life force, and you have a part of yourself that's your physical body. So all we're trying to do is get correct discernment between the two and develop that discernment. So that's why we have acute pain, that's why we have chronic conditions, because we want to use this aspect of ourselves and develop that correct discernment as a whole human being. So that's the reason why we do it this way.
So the physical has the ability to block the energy, the Seimei, the
Well,
force.
it has the ability to block the Seimei only because it's not moving in its natural environment very much on a regular basis. That's the whole thing. You know, if you don't use your physical body on a regular basis and you stop moving, then dis-ease sets in, and, you know, different things can happen. It's the same with your Seimei. If it's stagnant all the time and it's not moving, then it can get heavier. But if you're using it on a regular basis, then it certainly helps you with your health. You still have to look after your physical body, though.
Yeah. No, I guess the question I'm trying to get to is, are some aspects of the physical body easier to heal than others because they're less dense?
Yes.
So the denser parts of the body have the greater ability to block the life force.
Well,
or obstruct the life force.
Well, they don't. The life force naturally becomes blocked because the two are, you know, even though they're separate, they still work off each other. So moreover, you know, right now in this day and age, we're given diseases, or we're told that we have this problem with us, you know, if we have this disease or that disease. In Seimei terms, or in vital life force terms, you could have someone that come to you, like you could have 6 people that have diabetes or have back pain or sciatica pain, for example. And you could work on those 6 people, and 3 of them, the symptom could go away and they could be pain-free for months and months and months, or pain-free after, say, 3 Seimei sessions. Whereas another person or another couple of people, it might take 5, it might take 6, it might take 7, it might take 10.
Why?
Because
that was a conversation we had over breakfast the other day.
Because the areas that are involved that are contributing to the sciatic pain are more than one. And as a system, the body, as it regenerates and recuperates, if it's just one particular area or one particular organ or one particular area that's not functioning properly, and you know, you work on the vital life force of it and get it moving so that it starts functioning, and then everything starts to function better, then the pain can go away and stay away. However, if it's more than one area, then as it functions, the pain goes away, but then as it's increasing in function, the next area comes out and starts to So the pain can come back, and then you work on that area and it goes away. So the healing process for a chronic condition in Seimei is different to what normally happens out there.
And is the chronic condition
Pressure.
usually brought on by the denser parts of the body?
It's brought on by several things, and we don't need to know what it's brought on by. It could be brought on by your lifestyle. It could be brought on by, you know.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I'm just talking about on the physical aspect. The reason I'm asking all these questions, I do counseling. So I work with people on mental, emotional problems, and I also do a form of energy healing. We also believe I do a form of, I call it energy. I accept the term life force to be the one and the same. I really believe that the only healing really happens from that life force energy. That the rest of it is a delivery system. So that if I'm sitting there talking to somebody and they've got a mental health issue, they've got a substance dependence issue, we're talking to one another. That's why I use that term, the channel, because I really believe I've described it. Let's go back and we'll get to this.
Okay, go ahead, Dave. Stand up and walk around and see if it's any different. Were you feeling anything? Or
I felt quite a bit of different sensations.
in your foot when you were just sitting there?
Throughout my whole body.
Oh, throughout your whole body. Good.
It's the left foot, right?
Yeah, the left foot.
The pain is a little bit diminished.
Okay.
What I felt first was I felt heat in the upper part of my body, my head and say from my chest up. And the second thing I felt after that diminished was some tingling followed by a little bit of pain in the heel.
Okay. Good. All good things. Okay. Okay, Alex, if you can scan him now, scan his whole body, and Janet, if you can go back to the foot, and every time she goes over an area. So right now, Dave, it's still sharp pain you're feeling there?
It turned a little more dull.
Okay, so now it's not sharp. See, the nature of the pain is changing. Now it's dull. So if you can get right over the area, Janet, and as she hits, like, as the dullness, as the pressure in your hands increases, if you can tell her where it is, and then go to that spot.
So while they're doing that, let's just to finish this. I've told my clients, and I use the analogy that I am like the satellite dish on their roof. I get a signal from above, and I create a picture for them. And what they're getting is divine energy. So when they sit there and they listen to me, their ears, their whole being is focused on me, and they start to get the feel of this energy, and this energy is what does the healing. It's not a particular modality that, therapeutic modality. I don't believe in them. It's that energy, and kind of what you were saying is that even though I'm the channel, I'm a part of me just resonates with that, and so I get to not hold on to, but it raises up the energy level, or this life force level as I'm doing it, and the more I do it, the better I feel from it. And I think we're both kind of talking the same thing, it's just using slightly different terms and metaphors. They're waiting for you.
Did you work on the point?
No, just.
Well, go to the point. Yeah, work on the point.
And
Yeah.
Janet?
Stay on the, pull out. Pull would be good.
So that's why I started to ask you about the physical aspects of the body, because what I find is that mental and emotional. Mental is basically a bioelectric process. Emotional is a biochemical process. They are a lot easier to heal life force-wise than a physical, because the physical is denser, it vibrates differently. And so I look at them and, again, I put it in the terms of energy, because that's what I'm just used to talking about.
Right.
But I think what I'm trying to say is that everything that each one of us are as a physical body is just a different vibration of the life force. So the bone, the muscle are denser, lower vibration than the fluids and the electronic impulses. Is that consistent with what you've been talking about?
Well,
You can tell me now. I won't cry.
it's not a lot that, it's not something that I know a lot about. I can understand where you're coming from and that you have your own individual practice and that you are, a healer and that you can sit down with people and help raise their vibration and get them through different problems and do different things like that. And that's a wonderful thing, and we always need people to do that. Where we're coming from the Seimei Foundation, or what Hiraki is saying is that this part of yourself or your vital life force is so amazing and so powerful. If you could just spend time using it every single day in your lives and learn how it works and integrate it into your lives, then your mind will begin to discover a whole new world and how to use that world.
Yeah.
But without the consistency and without the regular or the constant results of doing something the same way over and over again, it's like this is one way to describe it. What they're doing right now and doing demonstrations with acute pain using their Seimeis, every time Dave gives them more feedback, they're gaining more information. They're gaining more wisdom, they're gaining more knowledge about how to use this aspect of themselves, how it's communicating with them. They're developing a language on that. That's a really good thing. Why? Because it's connected to a whole world of natural laws that is unlimited potential. The problem with those laws is that the mind and the physical body don't know how to use them on a regular basis. They don't know how to use them at all because all the recorded memory that we have with the mind based on physical results is based in the physical. So all we're doing is trying to get concrete results here using this aspect of themselves.
So once we get those results, isn't it beneficial then to take the person who has been, quote, healed and train them in the process so they keep generating?
Yes. That's why we say this is Seimei, it's amazing and anyone can do it. We're not healers. If I see, and I love to see, for myself, a different range of people with all sorts of different types of chronic conditions. But because the more different conditions that I see and the more different types of people I see, the better I communicate or the better I develop this communication with this part of myself.
Exactly.
And the better it is in my life, the more amazing my life is, the more my perception of reality changes, because now I'm getting information from a world that I'm beginning to understand actually exists. But ultimately what I want is a whole collective consciousness of people doing the same thing, using the same aspect of themselves, healing themselves in that way. So that's why we're a foundation. That's why we're a community of people that come together on a regular basis. Like here in Santa Fe, we meet every Monday night at the NEA, the National Educational Association on Boltov Avenue.
Yeah.
We meet there from like 6:30 to 8:30, and we ask the public to come. So if they have acute pain, we ask the public to come if they have chronic conditions. And we want to work as members on as many different people as possible and then give them the opportunity to learn how to do it themselves. We have classes where we can teach you how to use this part of yourself on a monthly basis. But it's the community aspect or the foundational aspect of gathering information, gathering education on what's happening when we use this part of ourselves and how different people are doing it, so that we can build this collective consciousness, not based on sometimes it works or this person has this way of doing it, but based on concrete results that absolutely anybody can do.
They're ready for you again.
Okay.
Pain has lessened quite a bit.
Okay, great.
The sensations I felt during that were ephemeral. They would come and go, and almost an itch to a small stabbing pain.
Great.
Not a very deep stabbing pain, but...
So all these different sensations that you're feeling, Dave, in your foot, if you noticed, we had one person that was on your foot, but the other person was in different parts of your body. And basically working on those different areas in your body means that your foot pain, because you've had it for so long, is also connected to or coming from other areas in your physical body. So what we've done today is give you a mini session, a complementary session for this particular chronic condition. What happens now is that it will continue to work in your system for at least 3 days. So the nature of the pain in your foot could change for the next 3 days as everything clears itself out and starts to work better, together better. It's going to help rebuild your whole constitution. So that's what you need to be aware of. And then if it stays away, come back and try it again. Again, you've had it for 6 months. Try 3 or 4 sessions on a regular basis, once a week, in order to be able to, give you the best results. That's how it works. With acute pain, it's easy for the pain to stay away. But for more chronic conditions, because you've had it for a long time, it generally goes to different areas in the body. Then that takes, longer and more detailed work. So come on a Monday night.
Okay, thank you.
Sit down, I'll fluff you up and finish you up.
So we're going to do some more yet.
She's just going to balance him.
Okay.
Yep, just so they doesn't walk out of here lopsided.
Couple more questions. And if we get the Seimei and we get healed and we practice, does that mean we have less chance of getting ill down the road?
Yes.
Okay. So it's basically, it's almost like an exercise.
It's like exercising.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like exercising another part of yourself. But with that exercise comes a tremendous amount of, knowledge based on a world with a totally different set of natural laws that you're able to tap into. That's what your mind is. Your mind's like the meeting ground. Your mind's like the meeting ground between the physical and the non-physical. But your mind won't record information unless it's based on results. Or it won't use information unless it's based on results. So you have information coming from both worlds merging in your mind, and your mind records it, integrates it, administrates it, understands it, and so it helps you develop. What's happened here, as you can understand, it helps you develop different ways for solving problems, because that's basically what your vital life force has just done. He had a problem, and we helped find a solution and solve it, using a part of ourself called our vital life force, or Seimei, and no force or friction. Mm-hmm. And God knows we need less of that in this world.
So let me ask the next question. You talk about community. We had 2 people working on him. Would have been beneficial if we had 4 people? Would have gotten twice as better?
No.
That's not good English, is it? Twice as better. Okay.
No, 1 person working on him would be fine. Because again, you're pulling from the natural laws of no time, space, and mass. It's just easier to show you, because it's just easier for different people to go through the technique faster if there's 2 of you, that's all. But the results would be the same.
So what took us 15 minutes with 2 would have taken us a half hour with 1?
Or 20 minutes.
20 minutes, okay.
If that.
So, interesting. So it doesn't matter how, there is no critical mass.
No, because you're dealing with or using no time, space, or
mass.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So I got to just change my vocabulary to ask these questions.
Well, it's a whole different way of perceiving reality. Everything changes when you move from, something that's limited to something that's unlimited. It's exponential. Mm.
I'm just so used to describing this to people who don't use those terms.
Right.
It's like, another question. We wanted to get into this. So we had this conversation at breakfast last week that Jesus healed people like that, raised the dead like that, and said, if all this I do, so shall ye, and even greater. So why is it that you or me or Alexandra or Janet, right? Eddie, why isn't Dave 100% like hop, skipping, and jumping around the place?
Because we're still learning how to use the natural laws of this particular realm or world that we come from. And, I would think people like Jesus or, the people out there, that have been and gone and will come again, like Haraki, are able to do it because they're aware of the world, they're aware of how the laws work in that world, and right now we're learning how to use them. We're like little babies, Let's say that people like Jesus and people like Haraki can run and jump and skip, and we're still crawling. And the better we get at using the natural laws, I mean, Seimei has been around for 25, 30 years. That's it. That's not a lot of time. As you develop a technique like this, or as you bring more of a community together of people that are using the laws of this aspect of themselves correctly and consistently, then it's like the cavemen with fire. And now look what we use with fire. It's everything. So that would be my answer to that question. We're not yet good at using the natural laws of the vital life force that we're made up of.
How much does the individual's ability to hold focus have to do? I mean, if somebody has, they're doing this, but there's some doubt. Like they run into a problem that, we've done a good job with Dave. He had these kind of problems, but we get something with let's say we get somebody with a cancer, and I've never done this before. Will my own doubt interfere with the process? Will my inability to stay focused interfere with the process?
Not if you carry out the technique correctly. Again, as soon as you connect to your vital life force, then, and as soon as you start moving through the specific motions and feeling the communication and going where your Seimei is asking you where to go, then it shouldn't. However, with intense conditions like, cancer and different, especially if it's terminal cancer and different things like that, we're looking for the life force of your physical body or the condition of your physical body also does play a part. You don't want to work too intensely on people with too intense conditions. It can be a lot more difficult. You want to start developing this aspect of yourself, working on reasonably healthy people. That's why we start with level 1 as acute pain. Then as you get better at doing that, then we show you more, level 2 chronic conditions, bring them in, something like this. Then you can start to, it's all experience-based, just like anything, the more experience you become at using the natural laws, the easier it is to deal with different conditions and their intensity.
Okay. We're rapidly running out of time. You want to give out some contact information? Oh,
some contact information. So we are at the NEA, the National Education Association, every single Monday night from 6:30 to 8:30. And the public, everyone is welcome, whether you have acute pain, whether you have a chronic condition. We give free demonstrations for acute pain. The demonstrations last about, like you saw today, 10 minutes. We also give sessions for chronic conditions, people who have chronic conditions. We work on you for about 40 minutes, and there is a fee. It's a $25 fee, and you're welcome to come and experience that also.
Okay.
And I think that you have the phone number. I think it was running across the screen.
Okay, we'll give out a phone number. Hopefully it is. Let me make a couple of quick announcements. Number one, Saturday, September 19th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the plaza is Santa Fe Recovery Week celebration. Live music, free snacks, special guest speakers, information booths. Anybody who's touched by, when I say recovery, we're talking about substance abuse. So anybody who's listening who's touched by any aspect of whether you're a user, whether you're a family person who is using, has a problem with it, come on down, find out what's available for you. Also, next week, my guest, good friend, her name is Washali, and she's an author. She does radio shows. She's multimedia. She will be appearing on Tuesday the 22nd at the Ark. She's doing a book signing and a lecture. So it's the Ark on Romero, and that's from 5 to 7. Also, you heard me talking about I'm a counselor. I do spiritual counseling. I do life force healing. Not the same, but the same, I think. Close enough. And if you're interested, there's closing credits that will tell you how to contact me. We are almost out of time. I thank you so much.
I thank you so much.
This was magnificent.
Thank you very much.
And I thank you all. Dave, thank you. Janet and Alexandra. And we also have a camera person, I forget who.
Therese.
And Marshall, thank you all. Check this out. This is, I know a lot of people might think this is foo-foo. This is real. We are life force beings, and you have listened to my show over the last 3 or 4 months will have heard that. That's what this is all about. It's about getting out of and I'm into duality. It's getting out of the physical and it's getting into the spiritual. So until next week, know that you are one with the Force. Make it work for you. Love and light, everybody, and thank you for tuning in. I'm Reverend Phil, and I've been your host for Words of the Prophets. Thank you for tuning in. Please join me again next week, same time, same channel, for more Words of the Prophets.